Hiya, it's Adrian and welcome to another episode of We Don't Like Being Lied To. In this one, I want to turn our attention back to germ theory, and while I was looking for an answer to something on bitCHitue, I came across Taste.of.freedom, who's also one of my subscribers, and he had some quotes which refute germ theory, and they were absolutely bang on point. So I'm just going to go ahead now and read those to you. Also, if you just want to go ahead and have a look at it, I'll put a link in the description to his channel on there, and it's the first comment on there. Medical doctors are working on the germ theory of disease, but the germ theory is already weakening and is due to be thrown aside. Dr. Fraser of Canada and Dr. Powell of California have experimented with billions of germs of all varieties, but they have been unable to produce a single disease by the introduction of germs into human subjects. Dr. Waite tried for years to prove the germ theory, but he could not do so. During the World War, an experiment was conducted at Gallops Island, Massachusetts, in which millions of influenza germs were injected into over 100 men at the government hospital, and no one got the flu. Germs are scavengers. And that's from Principles and Practice of Naturopathy, E.W. Cordingley, MD, ND, AM. We said before that so-called germs are ubiquitous. They are ever present in many varying forms in both healthy and sick people. These microbes kick in to what modern scientists call pathogens when the media is toxic and conducive to cleanup. When you enter into a healing crisis and your body is throwing off toxins, these germs appear out of your very substance to help eliminate, process and break down these toxins. Germs have absolutely no causal relationship to disease, but germs do appear to help you clean out because, quite simply, your disease is your cure. Dr. William P. Trebing, Goodbye Germ Theory, page 154. Viruses are simply the excretions of a toxic cell. Viruses are pieces of DNA or RNA with a few other proteins. They butt out from the cell. They happen when the cell is poisoned. They are not the cause of anything. Thomas Cowan, MD, on Rudolf Steiner's Insights. The entire fabric of germ theory of disease rests upon assumptions which not only have not been proved, but are which incapable of proof, and many of them can be proved to be the reverse of truth. The basic one of unproven assumptions, wholly due to Pasteur, is the hypothesis that all the so-called infections and contagious disorders are caused by germs, and that was M.L. Leveson, MD. If the germ theory were true, no one would be alive to believe it. B.J. Palmer, D.C. 3 criteria are, according to the scientific method needed to properly identify a virus. 3 criteria are, according to the scientific method needed to properly identify a virus. It must be isolated from a host cell. As of 2016, this has never been accomplished in humans. It must be photographed and its diameter measured. As of 2016, this has never been accomplished in humans. It must be biochemically characterized. As of 2016, this has never been accomplished in humans. This has never been done with any virus: herpes, hepatitis, H1N1, bird flu, swine flu, influenza, polio, measles, let alone HIV, HPV, SARS, Zika or Ebola. And that's viruses. How much is that dogma in the window? New Medicine Online. We agree with those members of the profession who hold that no germ causes tuberculosis. Germs do not cause any disease. Further, we agree that there is more harm in the fear of germs than there is in the germs themselves. Timely Truths on Human Health, Simon Louis Katzoff, MD, 1921. The general public have been told that we do not become ill except when germs penetrate into from without. The germ theory of disease is ridiculous. Beauchamp or Pasteur, a lost chapter in the history of biology, E. Douglas Hume. You're working under a wrong premise to begin with, and you're never going to find the answer if you do that. Viruses have no nucleus. There is no respiratory system. There is no circulatory system. There is no digestive system. Viruses are not alive. That's like saying soap is alive. They're not alive. They are solvents. They are soaps. However, more accurately, they are enzymes to fractionate tissue for waste elimination. I don't know how you pronounce that. I think that's Ionas Vonderplanitz. We must infer that at least some and probably all 3 of those Russian peasants died because of Pasteur's vaccine, as did uncounted people later on. Only one thing is sure: ever since Pasteur developed his vaccine, the cause of death from rabies have increased, not diminished. Hans Reusch. And by the way, as an aside, Hans Reusch wrote a really good book, which I'll flag across here because I cannot remember the title of it, but it was a very disturbing read and very, very good. Had it not been for the mass selling of vaccines, Pasteur's germ theory of disease would have collapsed into obscurity. E. Douglas Hume. In 1915, another medical doctor wrote an article for the top British medical journal Lancet. Dr. Mantas studied 21 cases of tetanus, each of whom had received pasteurization inoculation. The conclusion of the article, which appeared in the 23rd October 1915 issue, was that in every case, the tetanus had been caused by the inoculation. Dr. Mantas said that Pasteur had created a new form of disease, the post-antibiotic age germ theory by Tim O'Shea. The culprit, however, is not the microbe. It is the level of toxicity that you have in your own bloodstream. Goodbye germ theory, Dr. William P. Trebbing, 2006. In all that I have witnessed, inside and outside of laboratories, there is only one cause of disease: industrial pollution in medication, food, air, soil, and water. Strengthening a body's constitution and lymphatic system is the first step to reversing/curing disease. Ioannis Vonderplanitz. Germs cannot be the cause of disease because disease germs are also found in healthy bodies. Nature Cure, H. Lindar, MD. What's happening is, like I said, we have colds, which are mainly bacterial, which go feed on toxic tissue that's been damaged. We don't eat well enough. We don't eat all raw, and therefore we accumulate toxicity. So the bacteria have to come and eat the waste product because we can't keep up with all the waste. Okay, so that's what a cold is. Flu is mainly viral. Some bacteria may be active during flu. Some areas of our bodies may not be so contaminated with that bacteria. The natural way that we cleanse with bacteria when we're overloaded with toxicity or waste products will help us. But when we are so toxic that the bacteria are poisoned by the tissue from chemical inundation, then we have to make solvents. Each cell makes a solvent. Each cell makes a soap to help clean itself. And it's a union. It's like a factory. All the particular cells get together and say, let's make this to help clean ourselves. So they make enzymes, which we call soap, to do that. So there is nothing dormant about it. It's just that when the accumulation of industrially contaminated waste is so great that you cannot use microbes, then the cells make solvents. That is, viruses we call flu. Ioannis Vonderplanitz. Any kind of flu is the same thing. When the climate and the temperature are right, certain tissue will cleanse. They may have a 7-year cycle. They may have a 6-month cycle. It depends on the tissue and how contaminated it is. If certain tissue needs to cleanse every 2 weeks, our bodies will create, if waste tissue is too toxic for microbes, our bodies will create a solvent, a virus, that fractionates and cleanses that particular tissue every 2 years, every 6 months, every 3 months, every 7 years, every 12 years, depending on that tissue and how contaminated it is. The myth that herpes is contagious is a pharmaceutical industry fiction to scare you into taking medication. Ioannis Vonderplanitz. Rudolf Virchow, a great German scientist, repudiated the germ theory of disease. He said that disease brought on germs rather than germs caused disease. Claude Bernard, Béchamp, and Tissot, great French scientists, all disproved the germ theory of disease. In Hans Sale's book, Stress of Life, page 205, an account is recorded that Louis Pasteur, inventor of the germ theory of disease, admitted he was wrong. Sanitation is the only factor that has reduced the spread of the old-time scourges. If the germ theory were founded on facts, there would be no living being to read what is written here, for germs are ubiquitous, they exist everywhere. In many diseases supposedly caused by a specific germ, that germ is not present. Contrariwise, specific germs said to cause a disease are present in huge proportions without the specific disease manifesting itself. D. Bernard, DC, DD. I don't have anything to add to that. If you like the video, please give it the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of content, please do click on the subscribe button and the bell icon. And if you think this video is worth a share, please share it. You guys are amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.